My name is Jackie. I am the author of Dream and Nightmares. I love making things that are surreal and different, supernatural, and overall just aside from the norm. And this is my tester comic. I have a lot of different ideas and I like expressing them in these comics within my characters and the storylines. This is my character, Stork. He is the giver of nightmares in this story. These characters here, Stork and Puppet, are supernatural beings. Stork is someone who cares for the children that he gives dreams to. He relates to their pain. And the strange part about him is that his body is a physical portal towards a safe zone that he uses to protect abused children. This is Puppet. He is the giver of dreams. He likes to keep it professional, and he does his job very well. But because of his care for Stork, his authority is kind of loosened, and he does assist him from time to time, but he also likes to keep Stork in check with reminding him the limitations of their job and what they're really there to do. Kale is the child that they're going to save in this story. And why I chose him is because Kale has a personality that is more mature compared to the other children that taking residence in Stork's portal. And so he kind of rises up at the end of the story as a leader amongst the children. This story was originally built off of my origin stories for the characters. Puppet was the first character that I made out of all these. He came to me in a dream, ironically, and that's how I built off of them. And that's how I got the storyline. And I just kept writing and writing, and then I ended up with this. In the first slide here, we get to see a little bit of Stork's and Puppet's personalities. Stork kind of explains how he wants the machine that fills up any not really useful dreams or just meaningless dreams to do their job so they can do something more important or have time for themselves. While Puppet here explains how they can't do that and how it's more important that these children have dreams to deliver to them personally. We can see how Puppet likes to have some control, has a lot of authority in this thing, and is a little bit of a leader and a teacher towards Stork. Stork has a lot of good things in mind, but he doesn't know how to execute them well, and so he does need some sort of guidance. In this, we get to see how they travel dimensions, how theirs is completely different from ours here on Earth. And even though in the last slide, Puppet explained to Stork how they got to stay to their job, Stork is quick to go back to his old doings in trying to save this child, Kale, from his abusive father. Down here, we get to see how the realm is inside his back. It is a lot like a child's playhouse, and it's meant to be designed like that to show their youth and to maintain that youth and childhood that the children that have been neglected or abused might have lost. In this scene, we get to see Stork trying to convince Kale to join him, and it's a really heated moment because his father is coming up the stairs. He hears talking, and so Stork tries to prove to him that he's not just this random stranger. It is what he's saying it is by having this child here, who is a previous resident in his realm, convince Kale that it is a safer place than what he has currently. At this point, I have stopped inking, and I'm doing this process called thumbnailing. That's why it's sideways and so much different and poor quality. It is just a tactic that some artists use that when they're writing out stories, or some animators use to get the basic plot and edit it. I did this instead of writing out the script because I thought it's way better for something like a comic. Here we get to see Puppet defending Stork on his runaway. This odd blob is supposed to be Stork. I represent his Stork head. And in next comics, we see how Puppet narrowly explains how much of an issue Stork is constantly doing this over and over again, and how he has to take care of erasing the memory of these parents and cleaning up the mess so the children won't be missed and have no traces behind. Stork is getting tired. Puppet is getting tired of doing this over and over again. So they have a little bit of a heated argument. Puppet is still on the side that he has limitations to his job, and Stork should be aware of that. But Stork doesn't want to accept it, and he has a kind idea in mind. But Puppet just can't see how important that is. And so the fight continues until eventually we have some development with Puppet, who says that he does care as much as Stork does, but there could be problems uprising from this. But eventually, he falls in and agrees to help Stork with his rescue of the children. This is just a scene, and in the next scene, we're going to see what it's like inside of Stork's back in the treehouse realm, and how it works, and what kind of community they built there, and how the lives are within, and how the children are affected from being taken away from their households and getting a completely new life. So this is my tester comic. I originally had an idea of a huge comic that was about the problems with globalization, overconsumption, and how we are slowly killing off the animals. But it was too big of an idea, and it was eventually going to cut down to being a series of novels. So I decided to do this one, which is going to be much smaller and just in one comic book. My name is Jackie. I'm a grade 11 student in Canada, and that's all.